UK podcast. I am very sorry about just went on there. We had a little bit of a technical issue which took us off stream. My internet went a little bit haywire. Do apologise, but hopefully you are able to join us back in stream again. Do appreciate you bearing with us for this one. We've just gone over the finality of all our of the NFL Combine. Just going through some draft chatter, but we'll move it on now to the Pro Day circuit. Obviously, Pro Days are the last stop on the path to the NFL Draft. Pro Days started about 10 days ago now. We've been keeping a track of them on the ROTL Alliance Twitter account. We're just going to go through some of the Pro Days that we've been at so far, some of the players we think that we might be looking at. So we're going to move sort of straight on into this. So the Pro Days started on March the 6th, started with North Carolina Central, and then March 7th with Arkansas Monticello. There's no players really coming from there. Couldn't find much information on those. The real Pro Days started on March the 8th, so there were two this day. There were Northwestern and there was Miami, Ohio. And that is the first stop we're going to make here. So Miami, Ohio, Ryan, obviously home to one of your favourite players in the draft. Chrome says you're back. Yes, we are, Chrome. I'm really sorry about that. I had a problem with my internet which cut us off in the middle of proceedings there. Do really apologise about that one. But thanks for coming back and joining us and tuning back in. So as I say, yeah, March the 8th, Miami, Ohio's Pro Day. We went to that. Hang on, where we? So there are a few prospects on show here. Obviously, one of them, your favourite, Sterling Weatherford, the linebacker slash safety hybrid. He's become a little bit of both now. He measured in 6'4", 220 pounds, had a 36-inch vertical jump, 21 bench reps, and stopwatch timed 4:59 in the 40. The Lions were one of 11 teams in attendance for this. How do you think they'll have made? What do you think they'll have made out of his Pro Day timings there? He did really well by all accounts.
Yeah, he had a really good Pro Day. He had a great Senior Bowl practice as well. Like you say, he showed that he can pick up tight ends. Like you say, he was doing some really good workouts with the tight ends. I think Raz, like I say, looked at these. He had him like a 9.01 as a strong safety and a 9.03 as a linebacker. I think he's getting to that point where he becomes a bit heavy for a safety, but he's going to be able to rotate between those positions. He's going to do really well in a multiple safety scheme, like say, as a box safety, or he's going to be able to then rotate and drop into a free, take two halves of a field and a two safety look. I think he's gaining a lot of interest. People are starting to chat about him a little bit more now. Like I say, he's shown that he's incredibly agile, he's clever, he's got a high Q, and he's got a lot of he's pretty fast for a guy he's pretty big for a linebacker safety. Like I say, he's one of those guys that stands out physically. You don't have to see him, that he's quite an imposing figure. Like I say, and he's able to come up to line of scrimmage, but then he's able to drop back into coverage as well. So I think I would love to draft him. Like I say, I think Detroit were there to specifically look at him. Like I say, we didn't have him at the Senior Bowl. He was on the other team, but we got a good look at him this time.
Yep, one of only 11 teams there, so obviously I think I agree we are taking a strong interest in him there. I think obviously the hybrid aspect of his game could potentially be very good for us there. I mean, in terms of his entire off-season, I think he's done a pretty good job of raising his stock, don't you, in what he's done. I can't think of any times when he's really struggled. Looked good Senior Bowl week, looked good in his Pro Day. He's done really well.
Yeah, he's looked good in general. And Miami, Ohio, the Red Hawks, not a big team. Not a very successful team either, so they're not someone that's attractive or known with producing NFL talent. So he's raised his stock from people, like I say, because a lot of people throughout the season probably didn't even know who he was.
No. A lot of them were introduced to him through you, because obviously you were mentioning him on our safeties to watch list of potential sleeper guys, so I think a lot of them will know him simply because of you there. Dan McGuinness is in the chat, says, how are you fellas? We're good, thanks Dan, thank you for joining us. We had a little power outage which ruined a stream where we had a lot of people on, but hey ho, people are coming back in, so appreciate you joining us there. In terms of the rest of the Miami, Ohio Pro Day, there are a couple of other guys there. So Dominique Robinson's also the other big guy they had there, the edge player. He just did his drills. He didn't do any measurables. He sat on what he did at the combine because he had a pretty decent combine there. And the other name that got mentioned from this, because at Pro Days, it's not just necessarily the players from the specific teams that come in. If there are small schools around, FCS teams, whatever, sometimes their players will come and join in as well. And I know one guy who did get a lot of attention was the Youngstown State tight end Andrew Ogletree. He participated in their Pro Day. He's 6'6", 260 pounds, did 26 reps on the bench, had a 35-inch vertical jump, managed 10'1" in the broad jump, and they clocked him in the late 4.6s on a number of the watches for the 40. I know a lot of the teams there, especially the tight end needy ones like the Jets, were really interested in this guy. This is what Pro Day is about, to bring some of the lesser players to prominence, and he took advantage of it.
Yeah, because some schools, like say, if they don't have much talent, they don't hold a Pro Day. Youngstown State, I believe they're the Penguins. They play in the FCS, so they didn't have their own Pro Day. Like I say, so it's great that Miami Ohio gave him the opportunity. Like I say, he's a big old threat. Like I say, and he looks like he could be a potential red zone guy at the next level. Like I say, he could be one of those late round undrafted free agent pickups that's able to catch onto a roster. Because like I say, he's got good athleticism and he's got good side. And for his size as well, the 40 isn't too bad. So in a straight line, it looks like he could be dependable on it, speed-wise.
Yeah, agreed. He showed out really well for them there. So yeah, we were there at Miami, Ohio. Keep an eye out for some of those prospects because we could well be interested in them. Moving through on to March the 9th, and this was quite a stacked day that we had here. So you had Alabama A&M, home of Akil Glass, Arkansas, Kansas State, Kansas, Monmouth, Oklahoma, Wichita Baptiste, University of Alabama in Birmingham, known as UAB. You've got Wisconsin, and you've got Wisconsin Whitewater, the home of Quinn Miners last year. Now, the ones that I found Lions presences at so far, because it is very damn difficult, they were at Arkansas, they were at Kansas State, they were at Kansas, they were at UAB, and they were at Wisconsin. Which Pro Day that the Lions were at sort of stands out to you immediately? What piques your interest as to where that they've been looking?
Kansas State. I imagine they will have been looking at Skylar Thompson, who's been recovering from injury, as a potential. He's got the future potential to be a solid backup quarterback at the next level. Let's say there's some talented guys in the state of Kansas, so both them schools could potentially produce from the next level. Wisconsin, like I say, we know we've got the backer. Like I say, you've got the linebackers there. Jake Ferguson, who unfortunately had a poor combine. Like I say, only did 15 bench reps and ran a 4.81 from a big blocking tight end. He looks lazy at times. He looks a bit laboured. Like I say, the athleticism's not there. So it's odds law that I big him up and then he puts in a poor showing. So I'm not sure if he improved on those times, but they will be looking for a blocking tight end like him. So there's guys there to be seen.
Yeah, and I know that Leo Chanel, again, we talked about him earlier when it came to the combine, but he was another one who had a really good pro day there. I think he benched like 31, 32 reps, something like that. He did incredibly well for a guy his size there, so he's really put himself on the market, as it were, these last few weeks. So Arkansas, obviously, Treylon Burks again struggled a little bit. His times were down. He didn't choose to do the 40 again, which was a concern there for him. But one guy who did have a good day, John Ridgway, the nose tackle. Now I know the Lions have had interest in him as a nose tackle, and I've made my feelings known that I'm not too keen on having one early. But he's a guy who's steadily improved his stock as the postseason has gone on, and he's put himself in very good stock in terms of the draft coming up.
Yeah, I've seen a bit of him. Like I say, he's strong. I've seen a lot of that player. Like I say, he's able to get in and around through centres. Like I say, he's able to get away from double teams. He's going to be a late round option, but like I say, we're not someone that's heavily in the market for a nose tackle because we've currently got two fairly solid options. But if one of them doesn't pan out, and if John's not in long-term plans, touch wood, like I say, it could be someone to look at later on if we do move around, gain the extra pick. They might bring him in, work him out.
Yeah, agreed there. So a lot to make out of. Any other pro days you were interested in being at? Obviously, Kansas, probably late day 3 prospects. They didn't have the best team there this year. Same with UAB as well. There's no one that's stand out there. I couldn't find any presence at Oklahoma, but you have to assume they were there as well. And their guys all tested very well just across the board. Again, Benito and Winfrey had really good days.
Yeah, we must. I'd imagine that most of the league must have been there. They must have sent some form of representative.
Yeah, I agree. So, they were at a few. They're getting busy. So that was March the 9th. March the 10th, it was a slightly smaller slate. So you had Arkansas State, obviously first home of Jerry Jacobs, although he spent his last year at Arkansas, as I was told by someone. Didn't realise that. Central Arkansas as well. Indiana from the Big Ten. You got Missouri State, New Mexico, Texas, and Tulsa. Now, the interesting tidbits from this. This was the first interview that I saw that we come across, and it came at not a place you might think it would. So, Missouri State, the Lions were present there, and they met with their defensive tackle, Eric Johnson, who had himself a really good day by all accounts. I was chatting with someone on Twitter about him, and this guy's apparently very physical, very good against the run. Interesting to see that they've gone to a smaller school like that, and they're really interested in guys there. Right.
Oh, sorry, I thought I could hear some beeping.
Oh yeah, that was me, sorry.
No, I didn't know that. I don't know much about him, so that's quite intriguing. A small school defensive tackle, to have him as one of their first interviews. They must think that he'll be there in the later value rounds, and he could offer something as a late round pickup.
Yeah, I don't know who exactly was there from the Lions. It was weird because I was talking to, as like I said, I was talking to someone on Twitter, a Lions fan who, well, presume comes from that region of the country, because he said Missouri State were his local side, and he said this guy was the standout there, and he wondered if they would go and see him. But I mean, yeah, there was an interview there. It was with a defensive tackle. Maybe this is probably gonna be a undrafted free agency signing, if anything. But intriguing nonetheless that they've gone down that route. But at least they're doing their due diligence all across the board. The 2 other days I could find they were at, the Texas, the Longhorns, and the Tulsa Golden Knights. It's the Golden Knights for Tulsa, isn't it? I'm not getting that name wrong.
Wave, I think Golden Wave. Like that.
That's it. It's also Golden Wave. So obviously, Josh Johnson is there. They've got a couple of defensive prospects in there as well. Tulsa could be potential gold mine for the Lions.
Yeah, like you say, he's the receiver, isn't he?
Josh Johnson's the receiver, yeah.
He's very talented.
He cooked Ohio State for about 160 yards and a couple of touchdowns, I think it was, earlier this year.
Yeah, he was quite good. Yeah, he's a good guy. I'd say he's got that good, I think, 6'1", 6'2" frame, like you say, a nice deep ball tracker. So there's certainly some talent. I'm surprised we weren't at Indiana. I would have liked to see, like say, Peyton Hendershot. He apparently had a really good workout.
I can't find... these are the only ones I can't find presence there. They don't talk a lot about the pro days. It's really difficult to try and find, especially about the Lions been there. They might have been. I just can't find any posts or things indicating
Hendershot and Ty Freifogel. They were probably the standouts, yeah.
Freifogel, by all accounts, he's had a meh sort of offseason. I know he didn't have a good combine, but Hendershot, I got his stats up here. He performed really well, because I don't think Peyton was at the combine, or he didn't test there.
No, I don't think he did.
So amongst the positions, so the ranks amongst his position, which he would have got at the combine if he'd have tested there. So his 3-cone at his pro day was 690. That would have been best of every tight end at the combine. His 20-yard shuttle was 433. His 40-yard dash was 472. His bench was 23, which would have put him second best at the combine. His vertical was 35.5 inches, which would have put him second best at the combine. This guy tested incredibly well on his pro day?
I really like him. I think he's a very good he's a good receiving option. Like I say, he was a big factor in an Indiana offense for the last few years.
Ken's in the chat. Thanks for rejoining us, Ken. Apologies about the little blip earlier. He says, hi, who are you talking about? We're on the pro day circuit at the minute. We're just going through the pro days that have taken place. Some of the areas the Lions have been at. We're just talking about Peyton Hendershot, the tight end from Indiana. He was in the PFF All Big Ten team this year. He had a really good year, 6 touchdowns, nearly 600 yards. Had a good year to get in amongst some of the other guys on there. So I would assume we were there, but I can't say for definite, just going on what we definitely find. But I mean, them and Tulsa, they've got some really good prospects coming out. It's good to see. Good to see us there doing our due diligence on those. Rounding out the week, March the 11th, it was small schools: Arkansas, Pine Bluff, Southeast Missouri, Texas State, and West Florida. Couldn't find any indication that the Lions were there. I could barely find indications that the days took place. I know West Florida maybe have one or two. I don't know if at the top of your head you can think of anyone from there, but on the whole, yeah, this was a very small school day and I couldn't really find anything there. So we'll go over that and we'll move to the start of this week. So March the 14th, yesterday, was a big day. Arizona State, your own team there. Austin Peay, I think it's Pay, they call it PA. Georgia Tech, Grand Valley State, Kennesaw State, Kent State, and Western Michigan. Start with your guys, Pro Diggs. You're going to know more about this than most. Arizona State, the Lions were present there. They have multiple scouts, one of 3 teams who have multiple scouts there. Also had a big performance from a certain German import that went over there who played in the German NFL leagues. What did you take away from the Arizona State Pro Day?
I think the cornerbacks, Chase Lucas and Jack Jones, actually did themselves the world of good. Chase Lucas would have got an 8.17 RAS, came in at just over 5 feet 11, a slim 180 pounds, but he had an elite vertical at 39 inches and a broad inch of 10 feet 8 inches and a 448. So I think he is pretty much going to be a slot corner at the next level, but I think he's very experienced. Chase Lucas has been a corner now for the Sun Devils for a couple of years, so he answered quite a few questions there. We mentioned Kellen Deitch as well, the tackle. He did pretty well. Like I say, he worked himself out there that he's going to be one of those mid to late round tackle guys. Big, strong guy. They all did pretty well. Curtis Hodges, he's a big 6'8", freakishly long, stupidly lanky tight end that we have. Like I say, reasonably good hands. Not the most athletic, but he's able to win those battles there. Uses his body build a bit like a basketball player. He worked out pretty well. The German defensive back you were mentioning, yeah, so Arizona State offered to help out with the International Pathway Combine. I think there were 12 players there from all over the world. There was some good performances. I think there's some, the names have lost me. There was a few from Nigeria. There's some from Ghana as well, but Marcel Darbo, he is a defensive back that's 6 foot, 200 pounds. He had 21 bench reps. He had a massive 40-inch vertical jump and ran a 4.52. He's from the Stuttgart Surge in the European League of Football, but has played in the GFL. I don't know if he's got draft credentials, but he certainly made everyone pay attention to the international. He's definitely going to get one of those slots next year for the International Pathway Program. Like I say, he's got a good frame, good size, and experienced in Europe. But Arizona State in general had a good day. To say how bad our season went, quite a lot of people came to see us perform. And everyone knows about Rashad White, the star running back. Like I say, he has looked really smooth throughout the combine, the bowl. Like I say, great receiving, dual threat. Didn't need to do too many, sat on his numbers that he's worked on throughout the season, but he's definitely in contention of those middle group of running backs. So it's quite a nice class. Donovan Westergaard, I don't believe was there. I don't think he worked out, but he's someone that should be kept to position that will kick out as a future guard at the next level.
Yeah, I think it was quite a positive day for them overall in general. Like I say, there were a lot of scouts there. Lions have multiple guys there, so it's obviously someone who's tickling their interest there. Steve is in the chat. Our very own Steve Collins is in there. Hello, Steve.
Hi, Steve.
Hope you're getting on well. Hope you're going to come on the podcast again soon, because I don't have enough Steve in my life. You need to be around a bit more. So hopefully everything's going well for you, man. Anyhow, so back to it. Yes, where were we? We were on the 9th. So yeah, we had the Arizona State Pro Day. The other Pro Days I found that we were at, now a couple of interesting ones. So we were present at the Kent State Pro Day. Now I can only assume that is for quarterback Dustin Crum, who really has not really done that well in this offseason. He's had some very questionable performances in some of the bowl games and some of the later games in there, but he tested well at the combine, ran a good 40. He only did drills for this one, didn't do any athletic testing. Do you think there's serious interest in there, or is this maybe just due diligence on a more local team?
Just due diligence, unfortunately. I'd say he had a really rough year. He's shown that he's incredibly immobile as well. Like I say, he's rusty. Like I say, the pocket presence, there's not much going on there. So I think it was just due diligence, unfortunately. I'd say I don't think he's going to get drafted.
No, I don't think so either. I think, yeah, it probably more just is a due diligence thing. We were also at Georgia Tech. Now, off the top of my head, I was doing something about this earlier. I can't remember who the Georgia Tech prospects are, but I do know there are a few guys there who are worth a look at. I've just been that busy today doing all the stuff on Twitter that I've not been at. Georgia Tech, is there anyone who jumps off the list that you're there, just while I'm quickly looking?
I'd actually have to have a look, see who's there.
Alright, well, while we're doing that, the main one that we were at, and the one I wanted to talk about, was Western Michigan. Now, obviously, they are a local team, and we are liable to do our due diligence on these teams, but there's some very interesting prospects there this year. Obviously, Caleb Ellaby, the quarterback, is one of the developmental guys we're looking for later on in the draft, possibly. I've seen people taking him in like the 4th round for the Lions, potentially. There, obviously, you've got the wide receiver, Skye Moore. Skye Moore has had a really good postseason. He had a really good pro day there as well, so you've got to think that we were taking a look at him as well. But one guy we are taking a look at, and I must admit, I didn't know the name before I saw it this morning, before I saw the confirmation there, but this is where I found out we'd organised our second interview of the of the pro day scene that I can find anyhow. Like I say, this is just me finding out what I can about the Lions. Obviously, a lot more's gone on, but the news about them in the wide open sphere is not very great. And this guy is the edge, Ali Fayyad. They put him through positional drills, so the Lions scouts, whoever the coaches there, put him through positional drills, and they're going to be hosting him for an official visit as well. Now, this guy's had a really good career with Western Michigan. He's been there 5 years, but his last year, 17.5 tackles for loss, 12 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. That's just this year alone. This is a guy who's had one hell of a year, and maybe any Western Michigan alumni amongst us can enlighten on it a bit more, but what do you make of that?
I think it's interesting, like I say, to hold an official visit, like I say, over a small school guy that's very productive, though. Like I say, he's had a great year. Like I say, it's interesting to see that we're going to smaller schools, we're holding these smaller schools, we're using the amount of interviews on these lesser known guys. I think it's going to be a case of like they're looking for real depth, aren't they? They're looking for those guys that will be the days 3 and 4 that could really come in and make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's nice to see we are looking out the box a little bit, because again, you would assume this is maybe going to be a priority free agency signing, and some of these guys they've not heard of there. So yeah, the first 2 interviews I can find, Missouri State DT Eric Johnson and Western Michigan edge Ali Fayyad. So a couple of names
I found Georgia Tech.
Keep an eye out
for.
Yeah.
Strong safety Tariq Carpenter. I think it might have been the Georgia Tech guy.
That's
6'2", big strong safety. I think he picked up an injury, but apparently he was really impressive.
We've done some work on Tariq Carpenter. I'm sure we have when we did our cornerback analysis.
Same as a hybrid safety linebacker at 6'2", 222. But like I say, apparently he was pretty good, but he picked up a knock.
Yeah, yeah, I knew the name rang a bell. Thank you for that. So yeah, Tariq Carpenter. We'd probably be there taking a look at him. So maybe looking at corners a bit later on in the draft there. Um, oh, Steve's getting very active in there. He goes, "Don't worry, guys. This is just a hiatus. I'll be running it back like a Kirk Cousins extension." Steve, Steve, you know how to make me laugh. You know, you just
Oh,
mentioned Kirk Cousins' contract. Go on.
Jalen Camp, the receiver.
Don't know that one.
Oh no, that might have been last year actually. No, but he came in Tariq Carpenter at 6'3", 220. Apparently he came
So
in
he's
at,
bigger.
which is he's bigger than people thought he was.
That's very rare. You don't really see that in there, don't much, do you?
No.
Intriguing. Steve also says, he's just going up on the signings. So, with Chark signing and Raymond and Reynolds re-signed, plus Amon-Ra, does this mean bad news for Cephas, or does it mean we're not drafting a wide receiver in the first 3 or 4 rounds? I think it's draft. We're not drafting.
No, I think it's not drafting, and it's not great for Cephas because now he has got a lot of work to do to try get some targets next year. Like I say, he's starting right now probably like wide receiver 5, so I don't know how. Like I say, I'm pretty sure he'll be healthy fairly quickly, so you have to get a scaddle on to get himself up the depth chart.
So yeah, a little bit of both, and Benson's completely screwed. Joey 2 times in the chat, he says, "What up, Doe? What up, Doe, to you, good sir? Thank you very much for joining us, as always." He says either Cephas or Benson. Yeah, one of those two is definitely in trouble. Oh, and he also mentions he really liked Jalen Camp coming out last year, so it must have been a last year one. Don't know where he's ended up, but yeah, he is out there.
I think he went to Jacksonville.
Oh well, he's really not getting lucky there at the minute, is he? So yeah, that was everything from March the 14th. So the lines were at Arizona State, Georgia Tech, Kent State and Western Michigan. Finishing off today, I've not really been able to go through today's that much because I've been that busy on the Twitter trying to converse with absolutely everybody. But the pro days today, Arizona, Auburn, Central Michigan, Murray State, Saginaw Valley State, UCLA, I don't think it is UCLA, I think theirs is on the 23rd now, and West Georgia. But the one tidbit I was able to find this morning, and I did put it up on our Twitter, Hank Fraley was at Central Michigan. He was running the O-line drills there, and that was very interesting because we've mentioned Central Michigan a lot. Their 2 tackles, Bernard Raymond, the left tackle, Luke Godecker, the right tackle. I really like Godecker as a development prospect later on in the draft. Bernard Raymond is getting potential first-round draft prospects there. Interesting, the Lions have arranged a meeting with left tackle Bernard Raymond. Now, this is an offensive tackle who is going to go potentially at 32, 34. And we have trained with him today, we've done the drills for him, we're bringing it in for a meeting. Could they seriously be considering him that high up in the draft?
I don't know. Like I say, it's hard to say. Do they really? You can make you can always make a strength stronger, but do we really need to go that high with what we've currently got at an offensive tackle position? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it.
I know, right? But I mean, I guess, you only get so many of these interviews. They've gone there specifically for a reason. I'd have thought, personally myself, if they were going to go for anybody, they'd have gone after Godecker. Because like I say, Godecker's going to probably go in the 4th, 5th round.
Yeah.
Which you would find more palatable for a tackle. But the fact they're looking at Raymond, they could potentially be thinking about shoring things up. I mean, this guy, he's 6'8". He's the former tight end. He's Austrian. I mean, I guess if they're thinking he's had tight end experience, are they looking for a mismatch option out there? Are they looking for someone who's maybe going to do something a little bit unexpected on that line? Could that be what they're looking at?
Well, it could be, like say, could he be morphed into a tight end? Is he too heavy now? Like say, is he going to be a dual threat option? Like say, it offers some sort of versatility.
Yeah, it's intriguing. Bernard Raymond is a name that you're going to have to watch out for. So he doesn't really fit in a position where we think we need it, but we are chatting with him, and we will see. But I'm glad they were there, though. I hope Godecker did well, and I hope that they're going to give him a serious look. I've not had a chance to look through any of the other pro days so far, but we'll update you week by week as we're going along as to where we're at. So I will get onto that eventually when we get there.
Smoke Monday, the safety at Auburn, got quite a bit of attention. He had quite a few people speaking in today. Said a lot of people like how physical he is, how his IQ is. He came in measured at his 6'1", 206. He didn't do he slept on his 4 or 5 that he ran at the combine, so he just went through defensive back drills. But apparently he did pretty well, and he got quite a bit of attention. So I think he's someone in that middle round of safeties. He's going to be maybe a strong safety. He's very physical and aggressive, so he could fit in the Lions scheme. I'm not sure. I think we're at the Auburn Pro Day.
I've not been able to find out yet, but I assume so. We'll update that one for you next week. So yeah, Auburn was on there, Arizona was on there. I now like Stanley Berryhill because he retweeted me, so he's gained himself a new follower there. So that's everything in terms of the Pro Days so far. We'll try and find as many of them as we can, because no one updates us on the Pro Days where we're at apart from the big ones. So I do try my best via Twitter to let you know where we're at and who we're potentially looking at as well. Steve just said that, he's just gone about the comp picks that we've been awarded. I'll go on that about the end. We'll finish the Pro Day stuff and then we'll go on to that. So I will come back to you, Steve, in a moment. So we'll look at the Pro Days for the next week. We'll just have a quick look through some of them, through the players who you're looking to do better or you're looking to show a statement there. So I'll kick it into tomorrow, so that will be the 16th March. Tomorrow's a really, really interesting slate actually, probably one of the busiest days going. So Colorado have their Pro Day. Obviously Trey McBride, the tight end, one of my draft crushers there, will be on show. Georgia's Pro Day, well, everybody's going to be at Georgia's Pro Day. Everyone's going to be there for that defense. That's going to be absolutely crazy. Michigan State have their Pro Day. There's a Kenneth Walker, Jalen Naylor. Jalen Naylor's the one who declared. I keep forgetting it's either him or Reed. So Jalen Naylor's going to be on show there as well. You've got Minnesota. Not sure who's declared from them this year, but I think they have a few. And then you've got San Jose State as well. Anyone you're looking for in particular tomorrow to really show out?
See, Georgia, I'm not interested in. I know everything about the Georgia guys now, so I'm not bothered about their Pro Day. Minnesota, is that Boy Maffei? I feel like he's from there, isn't he?
Oh yeah, Minnesota's Boy Maffei.
Yeah, so I feel like he will hopefully, like I say, I imagine he'll probably sit on most of his combine numbers, but people will be interested in him and want to see him. I think there's an offensive tackle they've got there as well, but it's pretty stacked. Like I say, there's quite a lot going on there. Who else? San Jose State. I'm not sure. I don't know if Nick Starkel. I know there could be a backup project quarterback. I think he's there. I think he left there this year.
Yeah, I think he's going towards the draft. I can't think of any off the top of my head though. I don't know. For me, I'll be looking at Naylor if we're going with a late round wide receiver at Michigan State. I'm not sure it's going to happen now, but I'll keep an eye on Georgia and Trey McBride. I just want Trey McBride to carry on doing what he does. I think he's going to be such a mismatch threat at the next level that he might have drifted too high for the Lions, but if he's there at 66, which he obviously isn't going to be, then that'd be a slam dunk pick if you want in a secondary blocking tight end. He'd be absolutely amazing there. So yeah, we'll see with that one. I don't think Colorado have got anyone else going apart from their punter, so we'll move on from them. So March 17th, very slow day. Clemson, Eastern Michigan. Anyone from Clemson who has something to prove to you on their Pro Day?
Justin Ross. Like I say, I've seen people still mocking him to Lions, but people think he could still go late first, early second. People think he could go in third or fourth. If you look at that neck spine injury, he does offer what a lot of teams want: big 6'4" frame. Still very talented, but he needs to address some of those red flags. But I think he's going to be one to watch. And obviously got Andrew Booth Jr.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Ross didn't test at the combine. He said he was going to wait for his Pro Day. He said he was injured. I mean,
You'll be watching that carefully.
Yeah, he has to have a very damn good Pro Day. But for me, I'm just like, I don't want to take the risk on the injury history. And I don't know if there's anything he can do at his Pro Day which will convince me otherwise. It's just like with some of the others. It's like with Mechie. Mechie's got the injury history as well. There's just some guys who I'm not too keen on. So, I don't know. But Booth will be interesting. I think slid a little, maybe not because of his play, but just because others have been going above him. But I think he'll do pretty well. So, I mean, I think the linebackers must be declaring this year. Skolsky must be declaring.
He's like 6th or 7th year.
Yeah, so Skolsky will be there. We said a lot of nice things about him during the college season, so I don't know his draft. He's probably an undrafted free agent guy. I don't know if he's got any draft buzz off the top of my head, but I'll keep an eye on him. He wears his Leighton Van Der Esch neck brace thing.
Roll.
Yeah, neck roll. So he's gonna be interesting there to see on that one. So that's a quiet day on the 17th. The 18th, even more quiet. You got Michigan, New Mexico State, South Carolina. So obviously South Carolina, you've got Kingsley Enagbare, the edge rusher. I'll be watching very closely to see how he does. Michigan, they've got a whole plethora of talent coming out in this draft. I mean, we know what Aiden can do there. I guess we know what
Daxton Hill can
do.
Yeah.
I mean, I really like the right guard, Stuber. Again, is there anyone in the Michigan side who needs to prove out to you on your pro day, or are you pretty much about there with them?
Nah, I'm pretty much sold on them now.
Yeah, I am as well.
A Jabba.
Oh, yeah.
A Jabba could probably do a good workout.
Yeah, I agree there. But I think for the most part, I know what I need to know. But it's going to be interesting to see them anyhow. Like I say, last chance for them to impress before the draft. So we'll see that one interesting. March 19th is just Citadel. Don't think it's going to come from there. And then rounding it out just for the week, March 21st, or that'll be next Tuesday. Bowling Green, Iowa, Jackson State, Nevada, Northern Iowa, Pittsburgh State, Princeton, Southern Miss, Stony Brook, and Syracuse. You can probably narrow that down to Iowa, Nevada, and Syracuse potentially. Anyone again?
Zach Van Volkenberg, the defensive lineman from Iowa.
Yes,
I think he could be a late round pickup, like you say. Could build up a bit of steam. Got pretty good size as well.
Yep, agree. Van Valkenburg, going to be interesting to see how he does. Nevada, obviously, Carson Strong, Cole Turner needs to bounce back in a big way, so hopefully he can do that there. But an intriguing set. Some of the big hitters coming out in the next week, so it's going to be interesting to see where the Lions do go with that. And when will we be back? The 22nd, so I guess I'll include the 22nd in this. You've got Albany, Army, Iowa State, Liberty, obviously Malik Willis, Mississippi State, Nebraska, Ohio, SMU, Texas A&M, Virginia Tech. A bit of a stacked day there. Anyone you're particularly looking forward to seeing out that group? Obviously Army have the linebacker as well. Oh no, I'm thinking Navy.
It's a bit of a receiver day. You've got Samari Torre at Nebraska, and you've got Reggie Robertson and Danny Gray at SMU, the two burners. We had Danny Gray on our Senior Bowl team.
Yeah.
And he ran a really good 40 as well. I think one of them was lightning quick, so he's definitely going to go back to see them as well.
Yeah, you got Breece Hall, Iowa State. You've got Malik Willis,
Charlie Kohler, Iowa State. Yeah, tight end as well.
Tight end. So we've got potential stacked day around there as well. So come the show next week, we'll update you on everywhere the Lions have been for that, and what some of the players have done there. So, it's interesting. We're finally winding down to the draft. The mock drafts are getting a little bit more complete, and we're nearly going to be there to the final show, as it were. Is there anything else you want to mention about the pro days before we move on?
No. Like I say, it's been interesting to see some of them. The big ones are still yet to come.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll deal with them as and when we come to them. So yeah, that's everything about the pro days. Just going to move on to a bit of Lions chat now. Then we will wrap this up. Ken Stouder, he puts his latest mock in the draft. He wants to take Hutch at 2, Brisker at 32, Wyatt at 34. Brandon Smith at 66, I think that's optimistic. David Bell at 177. Charleston Rambo at 180. Charlie Cole at 218. McKenzie, the offensive tackle, 240. Dylan Parham, the guard. I think he's going to go a bit higher than that, but some good names in there. But I don't think Brandon Smith's falling to 66, is he?
No, I like the players. Like I say, I think if was David Bell at 177?
Yeah.
If he dropped that far, I'd be very happy with him. Like I say, and Charlie Cut at the tight end as well, big pickup. I like that in the 200s.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. Michael Lucius has joined us in the chat. Thank you very much for joining us, good sir. I interact with you on Twitter very, very often. He goes, I actually feel like the moves at wide receiver indicate we are going to take a wide receiver high, not late, but one receiver, not two. I mean, we already touched on this a bit, but I think we're both in agreement that we think that it takes out a top receiver as opposed to getting another one.
I just feel like we're leaning towards a heavy early draft defense.
Yeah, I do as well. I feel like that's the way we're going, but you never know. You never know what the strategy is. Chalk's only here 1 year. Are they going to get like a Christian Watson in, train him up to be the outside guy, then let Chalk go and keep him on his rookie deal? Possibly. I've no idea on that one. You never know.
It wouldn't upset me, no.
No, won't upset me either. Joey two times mentioned a little bit earlier. He goes, I know it's up to 9.5 million, but it seems like Holmes may have just paid a hell of a lot of money for a kick returner in regards to Khalif Raymond. I don't know. You've got to see the deal first, really, don't you? If this is a lot of guaranteed money, then it's a dicky deal. But if this is like only 2 or 3 million guaranteed and a lot of incentives, you've got to feel it's an alright deal.
Yeah, it's going to come up to me. Like I say, if we're creeping towards 4 or 5 million guaranteed, then I'll start to feel a little bit more upset about it because I don't think he's going to be a massive factor in the offense this year. So I want to keep it as low as possible if we're paying primarily for him to be a returner.
Yeah, I'd agree as well. I think we do need to be careful with it. But I like to say, we need to see the entire deal before we can fully judge it. Steve says Christian Watson at 34. I think we'd both say yes, but we'd prefer others, but we wouldn't complain. Would that be a fair analysis?
If we took a safety at 32, I'd be open to wide receiver at 34. I'd rather address them in that order.
Yeah, agreed. Steve also mentions about the comp picks. He says the Lions just awarded comp picks, including the 3rd round pick, which is number 97, which is the highest comp pick awarded. That was for Kenny Golladay. And just looking on, we've got 3 picks, so we've picked up 97, 177, and 217. So that's a 3rd, a 5th, and a 6th. So to be fair, I think it was what we expected it to be, but it's just nice to get them in the bag and get the picks there.
Yeah, like say that 5th or a 6th, you could turn into a tight end too very easily. Pick up a tackle.
Yeah, and get development guys in there. So yeah, I've no issues with that. That's good little haul of comp picks there for us. Steve is asking you in the chat, right? He says Daxton Hill at 32. I'll leave you to this one.
No, 34. Like say, or later, like say, for me it's Brisker or Scene before Hill.
Yeah, agreed. I think it's a bit too rich for me there as well. Michael goes, Steve, I could see that. I could also see Burks if he falls to 32. That's in reference to Watson at 34. Yeah, I could see Burks. If Burks is there at 32, take him if you need a receiver. And he also mentions about the contract. Remember, we thought Reynolds was 2 for 12, but is really 2 and 4 respectively. Exactly. I know some people got upset about the Reynolds deal when it first came out, but when the terms were revealed, it was actually a pretty good deal. So we really can't complain about that one there. So yeah, that was. We'll see what the deal is, and that's what it is. But if there's any other questions you want to get out the way before we start to close this segment, before we start to close the show out, then just whack them in there straight away. Is there anything else you want to get off your chest while you're here, Ryan, in regards to anything we've talked about, or anything else you want to touch on, maybe?
No, like I say, it's been a very it's good to have a break, and now good to get stuck back in again. Like I say, because the Discord last 2 days has been crazy.
Oh, I mean, tell me about it. I mean, I must admit, I prep like a day for these shows. This is the one I've been able to put the least amount in because I've spent the last 2 days on Twitter trying to keep up with everything on there. It's been absolutely insane, the amount of people who've been interacting with us, all this and that and the other. So yeah, definitely needed a break to be able to get back into this again, and hopefully it's calmed down a little next Wednesday, because it's like just all today. Ever since that DJ chart news broke, it's like you're pressing refresh, 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 refresh. Just don't know what's going to happen, but it's all the fun of it, isn't it? I do like this time of year where all these deals are happening, and like tomorrow everyone's going to get cut because, you know, tomorrow is the start of the new league year. You've got to be under the cap or you're screwed. You'll get penalised. It's a fun part of
You'll
the
see
year.
trades tomorrow. I think Deshaun Watson will be traded tomorrow. I think they'll strike the deal.
Yeah, and I think he's holding up the quarterback market at the minute. So I think when he goes, you'll see a lot of other quarterbacks traded. Your Jimmy Garoppolo's, etc. Maybe your Gardner Minshew's. They could probably go quite quickly. So yeah, it's a fun time of year, so it's all good. Steve's in, he asks another question. Will the Jags take Hutch at 1 after their free agency haul of offensive line? If it means we get
Yes.
Kyle Hamilton, then yes.
I think they will take Hutchinson.
I think it makes sense. I know people say, well, they'll get a rookie on a deal there, but when you're paying a lot of money for the first overall pick, so it's not like you're just picking a rookie and it's not going to affect your cap. It is going to affect your cap a lot, and you know they've got the depth there now, so you would assume that it's going to be edge. You wouldn't think they're going to take.
You can put him. They've got Josh Allen on one side, who's been really good. Give him a partner on the other side, and those two could be a pretty fearsome pass rush.
Exactly, and you know, as much as people say tackles can play both sides, I don't see Evan Neal playing right tackle. He's always been a left tackle. I don't really see him making the transition over, and I'm not sure about Icky either. So I think it just makes sense to go for the best player available, and we keep getting told it's Hutch, so Hutch it may be. We'll see. Michael says, I think they will, Steve. Hutch looks like he'll go number 1, so we can't trade back. It's probably KT, Hamilton, or Trayvon. God, it could be one of 8 people, if anyone has anything to, you know, all the stories we hear about number 2. It could be Willis, could be Trayvon, could be Davis, could be Thibodeau, could be Hamilton. A lot of people there. He also goes, Michael says, big day tomorrow for Green Bay and New Orleans. They have a ton of work to do to get onto the cap. Yes, they do. I think both of them are still about 20 million over, if I remember rightly, with all the deals that have been done. Steve goes, you know, I've been on the Hamilton train for months. I know you have, Steve. You've been a very worthy person to have on the board the train with us. You're very sensible, and you think like we do. We've all been on the Hamilton train. Like Matt said yesterday, I'm pretty sure we started the Hamilton at 2 train back in like November. We started this a long time ago because we said how good he was and potentially how high he could go. So I think we should take credit for that. So, right. Thank you everybody who's joined us this evening. Thanks very much for coming back. We had that outage in the middle with the internet, which meant I had to start a brand new stream up. You all came back. Really appreciate it, especially as Luke's gone live as well. So I know myself and a lot of others will be jumping on over to that stream very shortly. Just to let you know, in terms of the next episodes, hopefully of which Steve is a part of next Monday. So we've got the main Roar of the Lions podcast. That'll be on the 21st of March. We will be still doing the NFL Draft Previews Linebacker Edition. We're going to look at the linebackers. Hopefully Matt's going to have a list to dole out for us, and we'll start doing the tape work for those. And then Wednesday, the 23rd of March, will be us back on the College Pod. We'll be back on Wednesday because Ryan's going out raving it up tomorrow. We'll be continuing our tracking of the pro days. We'll be doing some more draft stuff. So, you know, looking forward to that. I'm sure we'll find some other bits to put in there as well. And hopefully the free agency market's died down a bit, so I actually have time to get some work done in related to that podcast. And then I think in a few weeks, Ryan said we're going to start our mock drafts, our final mock drafts. How confident are you feeling right now that you can come up with a good mock draft for the first? Because I have precisely 0% confidence that I can come up with a mock draft that's going to even like land 2 or 3 picks.
Yeah, I don't feel too bad. Like you say, because we kind of do them periodically, I think it's easier than trying to do one just totally out of the blue.
Yeah. I think they're going to look a lot different to the half-season and full-season mock drafts we did during the college season. Anyhow, I don't mind. It's going to be a little bit different there. I just So yeah. Just going to close it out and say, is there anything else you want to go through, or you're all good for the day?
No, I'm all good. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll let you get off. Looks like Hank's the pod mascot Hank is very comfy there, probably asleep, bless
Yeah,
him. So
he's asleep.
yeah, we'll let him get a little bit of peace there. So just want to go through all the social stuff first. First of all, I just want to give a big shout out to Twitch. Matt did put a message in earlier. Dan, if you've been in Twitch and you've been asking questions and I've not been able to see it, I'm sorry. I was told this multi-stream function on Streamlabs allowed me to see comments from both Twitch and YouTube, but he lied. It's empty and I can't see a damn thing. So if you have, I apologise. We'll get that sorted so that I can look over both. I just don't like to have everything open at once because it'll make my computer crash. But we've had 2 new subs while we've been on. So we've had Paul Bear. He's subscribed with his free Prime subscription. Thank you ever so much. We really appreciate that. And then in the last half an hour or so, Ali McD has also followed us on Twitch. Again, we can't thank you guys enough for coming to join us and coming to talk Lions with us. We absolutely love it, and we love that people like to come in and chat along with us. Just before I do the socials, Ken, he just mentioned, he says, Green Bay have moved a bunch of cap space. Like 2 days ago, they were 50 million under. Now they are -7. Yeah, they re-signed Preston Smith. They cut Za'Darius, who had a load of cap on there. They've restructured Aaron Rodgers, bore his down. You can bring it down quick if you want to. And yes, Steve makes the joke, Paul Bearer. It's Paul Bear, not Paul Bearer, but not like the famous character from the WWF days. Not like that, but yeah. We appreciate everyone who joined us, so thank you ever so much for that. And thank you, Steve. It's good to see you, Steve. Gonna have to make sure you're on one of the pods one day. Come back on the Monday. We all miss you. Just remains for me to go through the socials. We'll get this all done and dusted. So you can find us all over the internet. On YouTube, find us at Roar of the Lions UK. You probably already have because you're already here with us. On Twitch, you find us at ROTL_UK. On Facebook, our page Roar of the Lions UK. Our Facebook group Detroit Lions Fans UK, One Pride Worldwide. On Twitter, you can find us at ROTL_UK. And again, thank you for all the interaction we get on there. It is like a full-time job doing it these days, but I absolutely love it. Instagram, ROTL_UK. And then on the website, you can find us www.roarofthelionsuk.com. We've got a lot of articles coming out on there now. Ash and John, our new writers, they're providing some really good stuff to read on there. I know Matt's put something up. I'm hopefully going to put something up soon if I were able to get time to do so. So yeah, anyway, you can help us. Likes, subs, like the streams. We really appreciate that. But until next time, it just remains for me to thank Ryan. We shall see you again on the main podcast on Monday. We shall see you again on the college podcast on Wednesday. We're going to go and chill out now for a bit, and hopefully all of you enjoy your evenings wherever you're at, and I shall see you probably all on Luke's stream very shortly. Until then, we'll see you on Monday. So, one pride.
One pride.